Sleeping inside a Boeing 747 sounds incredible, right? But does the Jumbo Stay in Stockholm actually live up to the hype, or is it just an overpriced gimmick? I stayed there and, well, I've got some thoughts. We've just got back from 2 nights in Stockholm and it was fantastic. Expect some more videos to come. But I've got to describe our first night. We stayed in the Jumbo Stay. I've done my research and found it. It's a converted Boeing 747-200. It really was a working aircraft. It was a 747-200 series that was built in 1976 for Singapore Airlines. And over the years it's had time with Pan Am, and it finally finished off with Transjet Airlines, a Swedish airline that went bust in 2002. At that point it was taken up by its owner Oscar Diaz, relocated to the end of the runway, and you can see it as you're coming into Arlanda, and converted into a motel/hotel. And it opened its doors in 2009. So as I said, it's definitely a cross between a hotel and a hostel. And the room prices, there's many options. You've got dormitories, where a 4-bedroom dorm is 450 krona, which is £33. A 2-bedroom dorm is 550 krona, which is £40. None of these are en suite, by the way. You've then got the engine room, which is where they've stripped out the engine and put a bed in there. That's 700 krona, but you've got it to yourself at £51. You've got a single room within the body of the aircraft for the same price, but that's got a WC with it, but you've still got to use the communal shower. The wheelhouse is actually inside the undercarriage. That's 700 krona at £51. Then you've also got a double room inside the aircraft, which is a variation of the triple that we stayed in. That's 1200 krona at £88. The triple which we stayed in is a double with a single bunk above. That's 1395 krona at £103. And then you've got your ensuite options. There is a single ensuite in the body of the aircraft at 1450 krona, that's £108. Then you've got a double room which is in the black box room. That's more of a suite at 1895, £140. Then you've got the elusive cockpit, which is a suite. As you can guess from the name, it's in the cockpit at 1895 krona, which is £140. Now, I was told by the guy on reception, you've got to book that months in advance. You're really lucky to get it, because it's very popular with the av geeks and enthusiasts. Now, although our room was £13.95, £103, because we booked it through Expedia, we got both nights for £140, which means there are better deals than those published on the website, but these are the sort of rack rates, which I think is pretty reasonable. You know, for example, if you had the two-bed dorm, it would actually work out cheaper for 2 people to take the 2-bed dorm than it would to take the double room. But individually, you can get rooms from as low as £33. Now, when we were there, it wasn't very busy. We did meet one other person who booked into the 4-bed dorm, and he was on his own. I'm not a dorm person, and the dorms are segregated, so you've got female dorms and male dorms, which is nice. So that's the pricing. Now let's get into my review. And the reason we stayed there was I'd landed a really cheap holiday. It cost me £30 for the flights with Ryanair and £140 for 3 of us to stay here. So the whole holiday cost came in at a little over £70 each for 3 of us to go to Stockholm for a weekend. So that's how we ended up here. And the reason I picked the Jumbo Stay was we had a 7 o'clock flight in the morning, which would have meant if we were staying in the city, at least 50 minutes to get to the hotel. And trust me, at Arlanda, certain terminals are half an hour walking from security. So you'd have had to allow the full 2 hours. We'd have been getting up at something like about 3 o'clock in the morning to catch that flight. Jumbo Stay, it's a 10-minute free shuttle from where you're sleeping. So that's why we did it, but what was it like? So now you know what it is, what's it like? Well, obviously most people are going to arrive there by plane, but there is a car park there, so if you're staying over in the area, it is car friendly as well, and it looks like the car park's free. And let's face it, you're not going to miss it, are you? So the only confusion was on the website, it says to use the Alpha Shuttle Bus. Now me being me, I always go to tourist information when I get to an airport, because you can get some answers that you don't get on your research. And the lady there told me it was the P2 and the P3. Now that is an alighting point at Arlanda Terminals 2 and 3 and Arlanda Terminals 4 and 5. It's It's really obvious, and the electronic display tells you it goes to parking, Jumbo Stay and the Radisson Express, and the bus literally goes Terminal 2, Terminal 4, Jumbo Stay, Radisson in a circle all day. And these buses are a maximum of 10 minutes apart. Apparently the very early hours of the morning it slides out to 20 minutes, but the P2 and the P3 do exactly the same route, so the chances are you might only be waiting 5 minutes. And the bus stop for Jumbo Stay is actually at the Jumbo Stay. The bus tells you that's where you're arriving, and it's even, the bus stop is called Jumbo Stay. You really can't mess it up. You walk up a little road and you're there. Now, the other thing that happens is they send you an email via, if you book direct with them, I'm guessing it's direct to your email, or they send it via Amazon with a key code to get in. But when we got there was a guy there to meet us. He gave us our key, gave us a quick overview of the breakfast room and an overview of the rules. And that was the only time we saw him the whole time we were there. So the room itself, as I said earlier, we booked the triple, which is a double with a single bunk above. Small but simple. As far as luggage space, I love the fact it was an overhead locker like you get on the aircraft. It was obviously an original 747 one. Small television, and that's about it. Now, while you're on board, you can you can walk along the length of the wing just to say you've done it. In the summer, it would be quite nice to sit out there, I'd have thought. And facility-wise, there's a vending machine. I didn't try using the coffee machine outside of breakfast time, but I suspect it was probably turned off. The tour of breakfast is really simple. There's some meat and cheese in the fridge, butter, milk, yoghurt, choice of cereals, some of that nice Scandinavian dry bread that they have, and some soft bread as well for peasants like me that refuse to go all in on the local culinary delights. I like my teeth in my head, not in the plate. So, as far as bed comfort, wasn't too soft, wasn't too hard, but then I can sleep on a washing line. The Wi-Fi was good, and as I said before, the location's convenient for the airport. That is it. That's all it's convenient for. If you want anything else, you're getting on a bus. Over the road, you're allowed to use the bar at the Radisson and the facilities there just to make you realise how poor you actually are, because you've got no place being in that nice place when you're a budget traveller. However, we did go over there for a drink and some nuts, and it was very nice. It was clean and well maintained, and I was happy with the price because Stockholm is not the cheapest city to go to. So as far as the pros, yes, it was a fun experience. I was there with my two kids, 21 and 17, and they thought it quirky. I tend to go on holiday to see stuff, so we weren't getting back till late at night, and the price was right, and it included breakfast, which, although I'm not a big fan of included breakfast, when you're paying next to nothing for the included breakfast, it is quite nice to start your day off with a coffee while the kids are getting up. And the price, yeah, quite happy with that. The cons, unless you're willing to pay a lot more, you're going to be having a shared bathroom, but in all fairness, the bathrooms were good sized, and during the time we were there, they were lovely and clean. I didn't see any sign of housekeeping, but we were out the door at 7 o'clock both mornings. And again, if you need anybody, you might find that a bit of a disadvantage. They do leave a phone number. We didn't need to phone it, so I've got no idea whether that was actually attended or not. But, you are very much on your own, which in some ways is nice. Now, let's address why you might not want to go there. Right, well, there's the obvious, the basic breakfast. If breakfast is important to you, this is not the place. You will get cereal and coffee, but then again, that's all you eat at home. Travel time to the city. There is no easy way to do this one. The fastest way into the city is the Arlanda Express, but that's about £20 a head. But it's supposed to be phenomenal. We rode it for one stop just to say we'd been on it. If you're going to use your SL card fully, as in try and do it all with the included public transport, you're going to get a surcharge for catching the trains from the station, which is about £12 a trip, or you're going to have to get a bus to a place called Mastra and then pick up the underground, and that takes nearly an hour and a half. So what we chose to do was take the shuttle bus and pre-book a Flixbus on the website. It's really quick, they go about every 20 minutes. So once you're on the shuttle, you can sort of predict the bus you're going to get on, and you'll literally only be waiting a couple of minutes from the terminal because it picks up from the same terminal where the shuttle drops you off. That works out as £4 a head, but it's still 45 minutes into the city. So on a day out, you're talking an hour and a half sitting on buses, not to mention the travelling you're going to do in the city as well. So that would be a bit of a no-no for some people, especially if you're going for the nightlife. You're talking finish at 1 AM, you'll be lucky to get back to the hotel before 2. Saying that, we stayed out quite late both nights, and the buses were great, getting us back in for about 10 o'clock at night, because I'm old and the kids are too young to be out in the city at night. That's my theory. Shared bathrooms. Didn't bother me. Some people it might. I should imagine when it's busier there could be a bit of a queue, but I counted at least 5 bathrooms, so that can be an issue. And the fact there's nothing to do nearby. Even if you go to the airport, all the decent stuff's after security, so you're literally talking 7-Eleven and news kiosks. So, would I stay there again? Absolutely yes, but under certain circumstances. If I went to Stockholm again and I arrived late, perfect base for your first night. If I had a really early flight, I would probably relocate to the Jumbo Stay for my last night. And the other thing that would get me back there is if I could get a booking for the cockpit room, because I really fancy that. So make of it what you will. I think it's one of those things you'll either love or hate. It is a cheap way to stay in Stockholm, but you've got to remember you are not staying in Stockholm. Have you been? Is your view different to mine? Are you thinking of going? If you've got any questions, put them in the comments below. And obviously I can't cover everything in this video, but there'll be a lot of stuff that might come back in response to a question. I'm always happy to help. So thanks ever so much for watching, and give it a whirl. We did, and we didn't hate it.